All right, so today I'm speaking with Natalia. Natalia is one of our Spanish teachers in Bogota, Colombia. And we were just talking about how COVID has affected all of us. But at MEG, we're kind of in the unique position where we have people all over the world in different countries. And we're learning how people are experiencing this together. So Natalia and I were just talking about how last year she was teaching schools here in the US. And in the middle of the year, lo and behold, COVID hits and the schools have to come up with a plan. So Natalia, kind of tell us about how that happened and what you've been noticing with schools, and then how you transition to students at home versus students all in the same place.
Okay, well, it was different depending on the school, the location of the school, and also the year level the students were in. So for instance, the students that were in high school, that was, I guess, easier to just adapt and have the students log in from their home and just using the technology. That was easier because they could do it on their own. So when COVID um, caused this, well, we almost didn't stop in high school. It was kind of immediate that we continued our lessons, and it was easier. But for younger students, it was a little bit more difficult. Some students stopped for a bit until they were able to come up with a plan and have, I guess, the support from the parents, because it's needed for them to log in and use the technology. So that was a big difference right there. With the younger students, I noticed that those that were able to get the support from their parents were more likely to attend to every lesson and participate a little bit more. So that's kind of how it happened. The kids, the students, they all missed each other when we discussed that, especially with high schoolers. They always mentioned that they missed each other. They were eager to participate in some school activities. For instance, some 8th graders were about to graduate from middle school. So they were feeling a little bit nostalgic about missing those important events. But
Sure.
schools did their best to make them feel happy. They sent pictures to them, they sent gifts to them, and they were able to share in with each other as well in a different way. They used to share that experience, what they got through video conference. So it's a different way, but I guess we have that resilience, and we can adapt on those kind of situations. It's not the thing that we all want, right? Because of course we want them to share
Sure.
and to be in the same room, but I've seen that we are able to adapt.
Sure, sure. So yeah, I think students here, from what I'm hearing, are getting more used to things. It's new for everyone. It's the students, it's their parents. Have you, during all of that last year, just getting back online, as you mentioned, you now have the parents that are part of the experience with the students. The parents are in some ways attending the class. Did you have any moments where anything funny happened or anything kind of unexpected because you had that situation going on?
This happened in a class where every kid was supposed to be with their parents,
Mhm.
and this was not in the States, but in Australia. And in Australia, the students were not allowed to use their cameras. So that was
Mm.
a unique school, but they were not allowed to use them. The only one with the camera open was me, not even the classroom
Oh, wow.
teacher. But then you could hear the parents um, just encouraging the kids to answer. They were a little bit more they were following the class. They were really into the class, and they were just like pushing their own kid, and there was like a competition between them. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
funny to
Even
watch.
though you couldn't see them.
Yes, you could
They were
feel that
just
they were
having
like
a
whispering.
silent.
Yeah, you could hear them
Wow.
whispering the answers.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was also cool to know that they were
that's
involved, and in that measure, the kids were also participating.
sure. but it must be a challenge without being able to see the kids as it is. I think video conference instruction, one of the nice things that you could still interact with, you could see, you could read people's emotions and their reactions, and even see if the kids are kind of paying attention, and losing that must be challenging as a teacher, I would guess.
Yes, yes, but it's something that you have to, or that I've seen that we have to get used to, because sometimes here in Bogota, with the regular lessons, like not MEG, but the regular school, the internet is not that good, so the teachers just tell the students to turn off their cameras so that the meeting goes a little bit smoother.
Interesting.
So you have to adapt to that as well, and just pay attention to what they're saying.
Right.
Of course, trying to test if they're paying attention to you addressing to a specific student, so that way it gets easier. But that's also something that we need to considerate. When you are doing a video conference, you don't know if the sound is going to work perfectly, because those are factors that don't rely, you cannot control them, right?
Sure.
So you have
Sure.
to adapt.
Sure. Got it. So you touched on that, the situation in Bogota. You said some students don't have the best access to internet. For those people that are connected to MEG, I'm guessing a lot of them don't know the situation in Bogota and how that might differ from the US or Australia or where it may be. Can you kind of tell us how COVID has specifically affected Bogota, maybe the timeline, like how have you gone through the different lockdowns, and more specifically how that's affected schools and students?
Okay, well, the students in Bogota have different conditions when you change from school to school. You will see different situations, and principals have to come up with a different strategy for their students. I have a friend that teaches in a rural area from Bogota, and of course the connection was not good for everyone. So the principal had to, on top of handling this emergency, they had to request equipments like PCs or tablets for the students, and also SIM cards for them to be able to connect. But I've heard that in some areas in Colombia, not in Bogota, but rural areas very far away from the cities, the students have been learning via television and radio, which I find interesting. And some areas that are really hard to access, the teachers have had to go home to home and take the students some material. So that is also something that I think it's brave, and just uh, I admire those teachers, and they have been able to continue the education, which is the main purpose. Here in Bogota, kids have connection, but not all of them have the supervision at home. So I've noticed that the attendance has been an issue here in Bogota. So the strategy has changed. Teachers have had to come up with different ideas, maybe have smaller groups and have them attend to a specific amount of time. So the strategy is not for everyone, but it's adapted to the specific conditions of the school or even the grade. Bogota is going to stop the quarantine on September the 1st, which is really
That's the
close.
plan still. Yeah.
So we still don't know how that is going to go. I've heard that schools are allowed to go back on October the 14th, and they will have an alternance model, which requires that the school has 20% of the students top present on the classrooms.
Okay.
The rest of them need to have virtual lessons. But it's still a process
Interesting.
that we don't know how it's going to work.
Do they switch days then? That 20% is a different 20% tomorrow? It's like this, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I know some school districts in the US are doing that as well, kind of a hybrid model of online and offline. And then there are schools that are completely at home, then there are schools that have gone back and are doing all these procedures to make sure the students are distanced and there's barriers and those sort of things. So as we mentioned at the beginning, it's just unlike anything we've had to experience. Luckily, we're in a position where we've delivered lessons remotely, so at least that part of it we're used to. But the students, being in different places is a little bit different for us. But as you've seen, we're starting back up here in the U.S. So I know you had a class starting this week in Wyoming. And was it good to start with them again? Were the students excited to be back?
Yes, some of them were on our class on the last year, and they decided to join again. So that was really cool to see them again. It was hard to see them wearing masks, because even though they are high schoolers, they're still kids, and it's hard for them to not interact. I haven't had a class with younger kids, which I think must be really difficult because when you're in 7th, 8th, 9th grade, you know how to behave and you kind of understand the situation better. But I'm wondering how the younger students are going to do with these biosecurity norms. This is something that we haven't
Sure.
seen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Only time will tell.
yes,
And we will get there. We will have some of those schools starting. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you so much for all of this. Like I said, I think one of the great things about our organization is that we are so connected across the globe, and we're all going through this together. So we're all just trying to navigate the best that we can. And it's exciting to see that some of our schools are getting back up and running again. So
thank you for
thank you
having
very
me.
much. Absolutely. And good luck with the start of the school year.
Thank you.
And yep, we hope things return to normal soon enough.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Ciao.
All right. Ciao.